The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Today is January 28th, 2021, and the time is 2:30 p.m. Before we get started with the meeting, we just want to make sure that all attendees are able to hear us. So if you could please just raise your hand using the hand icon, that'll let me know you can hear my voice. Perfect. Thank you. And if you could just lower your hands so we don't confuse that with you wanting to provide comments later, that would be good. Okay. So welcome and thank you for attending the State Board of Licensed Professional Counselor Examiners stakeholder meeting via webinar today. Before we get started, we'd like to introduce the staff members from the Division of Professions and Occupations that are present. My name is Elena Kemp, and I'm a regulatory coordinator with the division. Also, we have attending Ms. Raina Sabarbaro Gordon, she's the program director, and Darcy Magnuson, she is the regulatory analyst for the division. In compliance with the governor's orders regarding COVID-19, the division has transitioned to a platform that is 100% virtual, and we appreciate your flexibility. As many of you have been to DORA stakeholder meetings before, we'd like to reiterate the importance of your comments today. DORA makes decisions every day that may affect your life and your business, so your input is vital in the rulemaking process. Throughout this process, our goal is to create regulations that clarify and explain legislation, ensure minimum competency to enter and continue to practice, and provide only what is absolutely necessary for consumer protection without creating unnecessary barriers to the marketplace. Your input will be part of the information that goes to the board as it considers adopting revisions to Rule 1.6 to implement Colorado House Bill 19-1129. This legislation prohibits a mental health care provider from engaging in conversion therapy with a patient that is under 18 years of age. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the website at a later date. And as this meeting is being held solely via webinar, please raise your hand by using the hand icon if you would like to speak, and we will unmute your line so you'll be heard by everyone. Or you can type your comment in the question section and we will read it aloud. So before we start taking comments, I do want to ask that everyone that's participating and everyone that's planning on providing comments to please state your name and who you represent. Feel free to provide either general comments on the rule changes or specific comments on the proposed language. Try to keep your comments limited to 3 to 5 minutes or less. And also try not to repeat something that was already said. If you're just stating you're in full agreement with someone else, that works just fine and we will note it. Just a couple of housekeeping matters. If you're using audio through your computer, please remember to put your phones on vibrate or turn them off. And whether or not you're using computer or phone audio, please try to keep all background noises to a minimum when speaking. So at this point, we are going to open the floor to stakeholders. And once again, if you do want to provide comments, just raise your hand using the hand icon. Or type your comment or recommendation in the question pane of the webinar. So what you should be able to see on the screen right now is the proposed rules. This was also sent in the notice for today's meeting. Looks like we have one hand raised. Miss Marcy F., I'm going to unmute your line. Oh, it looks like you're self-muted. Okay, your hand is has been lowered. So we will. All right, I got a hand raised by a Doreen Hills. I'm unmuting your line now. Hello?
Hi. Yeah, my name is Doreen Hills, and I would like to know more about this Rule 1.6 and just introducing myself. I was also a vice chair 4 years ago. I just completed my term with LPC, so just wanted to just introduce myself.
Well, hello. Thank you for
Hello.
coming to today's meeting. So the rules on the screen, and Darcy, I don't know if you want to chime in. They're pretty straightforward. What I can do is also pull up the bill, and this is House Bill 191129.
Hey, Doreen, it's Darcy.
Hey,
How are you? Good to
doing
hear your
well.
voice.
Thanks.
Do you have any questions or feedback on the specific changes? There, like Elena said, my best recommendation would be to take a look at the statute, and then the board's rulemaking is very limited in this case. So if you have any questions based on that, let me know. But the rules that are showing that right now, Elena's showing the statute, but the red line changes to the rules are just to rule, I believe it's 1.6. I don't see it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But if you have any questions based on that, you can always email Raina or you can shoot them to the rulemaking inbox.
What is your email, Darcy?
The best for rulemaking is Dora_DPO_rulemaking at state.co.us.
At state.co.us.
Yes.
Okay. Let me look at this 1.6 rule and
Yeah, and if you have any questions, and this goes to all of the participants on the webinar today, if you have any questions or concerns or anything that you want to be reviewed by the board, you can always submit that in writing as well once you've had a chance to review the statute and the proposed changes before the rulemaking hearing at the board's next meeting.
all right.
Okay, Ms. Hills, I'm going to mute your line unless you have any other feedback that you wanted to provide, and we can always circle back.
It's pretty black and white to me. It's just saying it's saying that we are prohibited to do conversion therapy for clients under the age of 18.
Yes, it's really straightforward, because the statute is straightforward as well, and that's what I was pulling up here. It really defines what conversion therapy is in section 5.5A, and then also in 5.5B, it explains what conversion therapy or what is not included in the definition for conversion therapy.
We have a written comment from Marcy F. My name is Marcy F., and I am a licensed professional counselor. My recommendation is against this proposal. I believe it violates the rights of clients who are minors and is inconsistent with other client rights. I'm especially uncomfortable with the language of what conversion therapy means since it's very broad. This could violate the conscience and values of both practitioners as well as clients. Thank you for that feedback. So the definition of conversion therapy that is showing on the screen right now is the act that was signed into law, and the board does not have the authority to change what is already in law. So the only thing that the board has the authority to change is the redlined rule that Elena was showing at the beginning. So this is already a law, like I mentioned, the prohibition against conversion therapy for minors. We have a couple of other written comments coming in. So I will read them for the record and for participants. Mr. Brown, we can reach out to you about your audio, so we'll shoot you a quick message to try and troubleshoot that. Bart and Schulman, I think it's important to note that the American Counseling Association American Medical Association, American Psychiatric Association, American Academy of Family Physicians, American Academy of Nursing, American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, and many more have all endorsed a joint statement against conversion therapy as unethical. Thank you, Mr. Schulman.
And it looks like we have a hand raised. I don't know if I'm going to go back and forth. Dr. Rio Leslie, I'm going to unmute your line now. It looks like you are self-muted. Oh, there we go. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Dr. Rio Leslie, Director at Colorado School for Family Therapy. Actually, when this bill went to the General Assembly, I testified in both the House and the Senate, if I remember correctly, in favor of its acceptance. Just general comments won't take long. I'm completely in support of it now, as I was then, as it goes from the legislative to the executive process, and just want to publicly state my support for it again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I don't currently see any other hands raised. And one thing I did want to mention, Dr. Rio Leslie, is that it's really nice to hear that stakeholders were involved in the legislative process and are also involved in our process as well, because it could really produce good conversation during these stakeholder meetings. So I don't mean to put you on the front line, but I do appreciate you attending the stakeholder meeting today. Okay, so the time is currently 2:43. I don't see any other written comments or, oh, actually we do have another written comment. This comment is from Lindsay Callahan. This is Lindsay Callahan. I also testified in front of the Senate and could not be more in support of this. Thank you, and thank you for your attendance as well. Okay, we have a couple more hands raised now. I am going to unmute your line. Your last name is Tiv Amanda? Maybe. It looks like you're self-muted. Okay, I'll circle back.
Here we go. Can you hear me now?
I can. Good afternoon.
Yes. Yeah. My name is Soltar Tevamanda, and I've been a licensed professional counselor for over 20 years. I showed up today because I'm very much in support of this change. One of the things that I think is really important in this time we live in is that people who are underage, it seems to me that there have been enough movies and all kinds of evidence to support that trying to change or otherwise force people to be different than they are before they're of an age of consent, to me is very unethical. In that it's to me as if I were, as a therapist, trying to force my values on my clients, and that's not appropriate on any level in my estimation. And I think it's really important that we have this kind of guidance, especially as licensed therapists, so that we aren't doing damage to our clients, that we are here to help them, not to convince them to be something other than they want or need to be. And we need to be creating guidance for helping them with those choices, especially if they're underage. That's about it. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I currently don't see any other hands raised. I'll look at some of the written comments and see if we've received any. Oh, sorry, I do. Ms. Doreen Hills, I'm unmuting your line again. Okay.
Yes, thank you. So I do support this rule, and I do believe that with that age, there's so much stuff going on, changes in the brain system, and being a teen, being that young, it's already a difficult time in their lives, and I think our job as ethical providers need to not be pushing that, as what the other providers said. So I do support this, and we have to be very sensitive with regard to to the brain functioning of the developmental stages here, the developmental milestones of of the kids, of the individual that we're working with. So I do appreciate that this is a good guidance for us, and we need to really set a high standard with regard to what we are doing and not cause harm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We received another written comment from Amanda Laughlin. I am also in support.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. So once again, this is your time to voice your opinions about the proposed rule and the new legislation. The board will be able to listen to this webinar recording during the next board meeting, so everything's going to be on the record. And you can also submit your written comments. Earlier, Darcy provided our email address, but I do want to make sure that everyone did hear that and had a chance to write it down. It's also on the notice that was sent out for today's meeting. The best place to send written comments is going to be Dora_DPO_rulemaking@state.co.us. So just in case people didn't have anything necessarily to say today, if you find yourself with comments that you want to submit later, please do so. It's currently 2:49. I think we should probably give it maybe another minute or two, just in case people are still typing and finalizing their thoughts. And then we'll go ahead and proceed with the stakeholder meeting. Okay. So thank you very much for participating in today's meeting. The stakeholder comments and program recommendations will be presented to the board prior to the permanent rulemaking hearing, which is tentatively scheduled for March 5th, 2021. This concludes the stakeholder meeting, and once again, we appreciate your participation. I am going to end the webinar now.